All right, it's 2 minutes, of course, I'll get that done. All right. So, you guys gonna have to muscle your way. Somebody came up with an apple. I know I've got apple. I'm trying to, show the colors here, but it's actually I run all windows, so I can't help you with any things that's an apple. You guys gonna have to figure it out, and I can't help you with any craziness in your iPads or any of that kind of stuff. So you guys gonna have to help you with it. All right. So the easiest way to do this is you pick a spot to start. I'm going to put variable, contribution. I hope a good many of you got your laptops now. Then we're going to jump down a little bit, and I'm going to put the constraints. And there's 2 variables here. What first variable is S and M. And this is portfolio question, I suppose. Right? It's how much should you purchase in stock funds, how much should you purchase in money market. So portfolio value. We're going to get a lot more into interpreting applications in chapter 4. But right now, we're just going to go through this format for Excel. I'm going to have a total, and down here I'm going to have a capacity. So under here is going to be all my equations, right? These 2 cells are left for Excel to figure out. I have 2 variables, and I put the labels up here so that I can keep track of them across all the constraints. Not all the constraints will use both variables, but if you consistently put them in the right place, it just makes it easier to make sure that you can inventory it and that you've accommodated for all of the factors that are going to go into the model. All right, so we're going to start. So the contribution for stock purchases in terms of risk is what? 8. And the contribution on page 129 is 3. And our equation then is going to take that objective function AS plus 3M. So we're going to minimize risk. So all I do is reproduce that objective function. 8 times whatever it puts in S plus 3 times whatever it puts here for M. Plenty of room to fat finger this stuff, and as soon as these equations get a lot bigger, you've got really a lot of room to find. All right. So now constraints. So I have funds. I have annual income. And I have money market. So it's, I guess it's not, it's $50 for S, 100 for M, and the capacity is how much? It's not 1,200, is it? That will cause some problems in your equation, right? Make sure you remember what you're reading. 5 times S plus 4 times M, and the capacity is 2,000. And then this last one only has something for M, and whenever they just put the variable, what are we going to put in that slot? 1. And the capacity? 3,000. So we're going to have to keep an eye on a couple of things. The inequality is different. So don't get in the habit of just marching right through, putting constraints, and you're in a roll, and I get that, but you gotta keep an eye on the inequalities. So we have the first one is less than or equal to, but the last two are greater than or equal to. So you're gonna have to remember that when you start completing the dialogue box. But that's all we need at this point. We have to actually put the equation. So, funds, it's going to be 50 times whatever it calculates in this blank space, plus 100 times whatever it calculates in this blank space. For income, it's 5 times whatever it calculates here, plus 4 times whatever it calculates here. I know some professors avoid using Excel in classes like this, but I think it's going to arm you guys so, every business is going to be involved in some form or fashion with Excel. So it's important for you guys to get comfortable with the tool. So this guy then is what? 1 times what, guys? The variable right here. And by putting 1 there, we just make sure that we've inventoried, that we've accommodated for all of the constraints, all of the coefficients that need to be a part of this model. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go to my data tab, and I'm going to go to solver. And it's looking for our objective. An objective. That means that one equation right here. What kind of problem is this, guys? Minimization. Don't make the mistake of keeping it as a maximization because it can gladly solve it. Just have a bunch of nonsense at the back end. Changing variable cells. That's these two beasts. I recommend that you only get them left to right, but that's because I never tried right to left. What is it? Left to right, because I've never tried right to left. I don't know if Bill Gates is smart enough to make a difference, so I just don't mess with it. So now I'm going to add constraints. It changes the dialog box. I always put it over my constraints so that I know what I'm screwing around with. But if you have 10 or 8 constraints, it becomes problematic, right? If you're not focused on what you're So this equation for the funds constraint, and it is less than or equal to, so that inequality is correct, has this capacity. I click add. And this constraint for income has a different inequality. It is greater than or equal to that piece. And this is the capacity. Everybody kind of caught up? Some just still out there? Go back, please. Go back to which? The solver? Go back to solver? All right, well, we're ahead of that one. We'll come back and we'll do another iteration. All right. You do not have to be anywhere about. It's not an existential question. What's that?
So where did you get the song?
So let's
It's under the data tab?
Yeah,
Okay, so I guess I just don't have it.
and then we'll do another
you might
problem.
have to add like an add-in.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna click on that
Like on mine, I
equation
had to go
for money
to
market.
tools, and there's like an
I have
add-ins
to change the sign,
button.
it is greater than or equal
So
to,
unless you can get all the alt
and
tabs,
this
or,
is the
I
capacity.
guess might be an option, maybe your add-ins. Yeah.
And I click OK.
Click on add-ins. Like click on
And it brings me back to this piece.
That's all you got.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll go at this again, guys, so if I lost a few of you, we'll come back and we'll do another problem.
Has to be somewhere there like add or
Oh, solver.
download or something.
Solver.
Solver. Yeah.
What is,
Thinking that.
what is another thing that we have to remember before we click away from all of our happiness? That's right. So we're going to click to this down arrow, and we're looking for simplex LP. You will do nonlinear models, right? Just not yet. For all this crap up on the, for all this stuff in this next exam, it's going to be just simple linear models. And if the world is right, I can solve it. And if you get anything but this, you've done some bonehead thing, right? You've hit something, you've got a special character out there. You can swear that it's not there, I get it, it's frustrating, I get it. Sometimes it's just better to just drop the whole doggone thing, start Excel all back up, and start all over again. I know that's not what you want to hear, but it is what it is. Excel's a nice, powerful tool, but then it's coming from Bill Gates' shop, so it's got a lot of crap. And what was the answer? Are we there? 52,000. And it says that we're going to buy 4,000 units of stock and 10,000 units of money market shares. For what? A minimum what? What are we after here, guys? Not a minimum profit. Read the problem, and I want you guys to practice this, and this is something that would likely come on extra credit. You guys, we gotta start exercising ourselves in word problems. This is very simple. What does that problem on number 10 say? Risk. So if you tell me we're going to minimize profit on an exam, I will chuckle and you will lose 5 points. I've never seen a minimized profit. You can minimize risk oftentimes, and for the applications we mess with, it's going to be pretty obvious, guys. So minimize profit doesn't go together, or maximize cost isn't going to go together. So that's what you're thinking when it's you need to stop yourself, right? We're only dealing with things that are pretty logical. Minimize cost, minimize risk, maximize profit, maximize savings. And our sensitivity. So what does the 1e plus 30 mean? Infinity. This means that you can do whatever you want to. Technically, that's what it means. In practice, you can't just jack it up to whatever. Optimization techniques deal with small increments. So if you're going to really jack it up, you're better off just recalculating the whole lot of things. Right? If you're really going to push that coefficient way up. But it says here that the allowable increase is 3.4 for money market. And what was the question on that? What do you mean by adjust? Well, so there's nothing to adjust here. I'm just saying that if it says that the allowable increase is infinity, right? It's only in small increments. Because if you get too big, let's say, because I have a coefficient of 8 for crying out loud. So if all of a sudden I say I want to increase it to 100, you better recalculate everything, right? Really, all of these are in increments, usually of the unit that you're trying to measure. But relatively small jumps. Small jumps, you're okay. Big jumps, you just need to rethink. And you're gonna, and it becomes more, if in doubt, recalculate everything. From an analytics standpoint, once we get this set up, it takes 2 seconds to rerun the whole thing. Why take the risk? So one of the questions it asks is, specify objective coefficient ranges. Right? So what were our objective coefficients? 8S and 3M, right? So what does my sensitivity tell me? For stocks, what is the range? This is a legitimate question on an exam. You guys manually calculated this on the first exam. What is the range? For S. It's not going to be 1E plus 30. So what is let's start with the lower limit. That is wrong. And you're going to lie in fetal position for getting it wrong on your exam. What did I say? I said this last class, and I'll say it again, and I'll try to beat this to a pulp, because I love these crap to a pulp. It's not 4.25. That is not the lower limit. What is that? Read the column heading. So how do I get the lower limit, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, so would somebody subtract it for me? And lo and behold, that's what's in the back of the book, isn't it? That's the right answer. If you come and then you argue the fact that, well, technically you were correct, I would say technically you were actually wrong. What is the upper limit? It's NA. Infinity makes no sense. It makes no sense. Infinity isn't anything. It just means within the constraints and the math that we're applying here, it's not applicable. It doesn't mean we can jack it up to infinity, right? It just means that there's no upper increase right now. We got to just keep that in mind. So if you put NA, that's fine. If you tell me it's 8 plus 1E plus 30, it's wrong. If you give me this, because you remember the infinity symbol, I will congratulate you as I'm watching TV, and I will give you a -5 for that. What do you put there? NA. Not applicable. It's not applicable. It's not infinity. I know that the calculation comes back. That's just basically notifying you that it's not applicable in this case. You do not jack this up to infinity. We're talking about small increments, maybe. What is now let's take a look at M. And that's a different problem, doesn't it? What is the lower limit? There is no real lower limit given these constraints and everything else that we just put it through. What is the upper limit? $60.40. $60.40? Okay? And we'll be on this again and again, and we'll take your exam, and there'll be like 3 or 4 of you lying in table. So I'm going to put here, this is the risk minimization when I post it. And I'm going to put here, this is the risk min problem. Ah, I can't have it the same way. risk sensitivity. A simple template works all day long, twice on Sunday. You don't have to get too creative about all the nonsense. I really don't recommend you do that. At least not for exams. You won't have time to make it all nice and pretty. So you don't have to. But it's correct. So let's try another. Pick another, guys. Did somebody try these and fat fingered them? Which one?
The one we were working on yesterday, but I figured out what I did wrong.
Did you?